Hi everyone, and welcome to Transfiguration 103. This is going to be week 2 for the scale fingerless mitts, the DragonScale. And this is going to be casting on and knitting. And also, before you cast on, something I forgot is you're going to want to measure your hand. These gloves are a one size fits all, and one size does not really fit all. Normally I need to decrease how many stitches I have because my wrists are so tiny. So to do that, I have a measuring tape here. This is, I don't even know what this is called, what kind of measuring tape. It's always helpful to have one like this because it's flexible. And if you don't have one, you could always use a piece of paper instead and then measure the piece of paper. So I'll go and measure my wrist, which is actually 6 inches. This says that it's 7.5. So I'm 1.5 inches smaller than what the pattern calls for. The pattern also says that it's going to be 6.5 inches long. So if I hold it up here, 6.5 inches is going to be way down here on me. I don't like my fingerless gloves that long, so I'm going to be decreasing a couple of repeats because I prefer shorter fingerless gloves. So, and that's just showing that these gloves are going to be huge on me. What I'm going to do is, if I still had my swatch, which I don't, I'm going to guesstimate how many stitches wide to get rid of. So if 20 stitches is 4 inches and we cast it on 36, I'm probably going to decrease it down to 28 stitches just because my hands are, I wear an extra small glove, so my hands are really small, but I'll still keep doing everything the same in the videos. So where are we gonna be in the pattern? If you printed this out, we're gonna be working on casting on 36 stitches using a stretchy cast on. There's a few that you can use. I just always use the long tail cast on method. It works really well for me. And then it wants you to do a place marker and join in the round. We're actually going to put the place marker where the first stitch is. Only because you can't put it at the end of a needle if you're doing double point needles. Even cable needles, when you stop at the end of a round, not the beginning. Or you stop at the beginning of the round, not, somewhere in the middle. So this place marker will fall off. And we're going to join in the round, being careful not to twist stitches. And then we're going to work 3 rounds of seed stitch pattern, which it's knit 1, purl 1 for the entire row. When you get around to that first part, you're going to then purl 1, knit 1 down the rest of the round, and then repeat row 1. I've written this out in the Google Doc also. And then you're going to work rounds 1 through 4 of scale pattern for a total of 5 times. Now you got this. The scale pattern after that gauge swatch, you should have no issues doing that scale pattern. Simple, easy, it's great. And then we're basically working up to thumb opening. Thumb opening is going to be next week. Alright, so let's get started. Here's my yarn. Oops. Yarn barf. I guess I did it a little too tight. That's okay. I got my needles here. For double point, you're going to do 12 per needle. So you're gonna have 3 needles with 1 working needle, and you're going to do 12 stitches per needle. For magic loop, just cast on all 36 and split it in half to have 18 on one side, 18 on the other. This pattern is rather simple and it doesn't involve counting stitches really. It's great. So again, here's the tail yarn. Tail yarn goes over the thumb. Ball yarn goes over the index finger. And you hold tight. So down through the hole, around, hold tight. Down through the hole, around, hold tight. All right, so let's work on casting all 36 on. I'll pause the video here and come back when you're done. All right, so I've casted on 28 stitches for me. You should have 32 if you're gonna just follow the pattern because the measurements work out right. And I'm gonna just double check to make sure that I have 28 stitches. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Okay, perfect. So I have my 28 stitches. Again, you should have 36. Now you're going to want to slide these off 1 needle and get it across 3 needles. So I'm going to put 8 on 2 needles and 12 on the others, on the first one. So I'm sliding purlwise. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you cast it on 36 stitches, you should be doing 12 stitches each. Or if you're going to be doing the magic loop method, you should be doing 18 and 18. Or if you prefer something a little more divisible by 4, you could do 16 and 20. Again, it's entirely up to you guys. Okay, that's 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, perfect. So I have 12 stitches on my last needle actually, and then 8 and 8. Now to keep the needles straight is you notice that your cast on, see mine's getting twisted. Let me actually untwist that there. Okay. So your cast on stays in a straight row. There's no twists. How do you tell if it's twisted? Well, here, I'll just twist it for you. That's twisted. So it's not a smooth joint. You can actually see a slight twist in there. Will the camera focus? Yes, it will. Okay. So we're gonna untwist that. Or twist it some more. Okay, so untwisted, it looks like just another stitch. All right, so the needle with the yarns coming out of it will become your last needle. The next one will be your middle needle, and then this one will be the farthest one will be the one that you knit off of. Now for knitting in the round, I actually knit with both the tail and the yarn ball, the yarn coming from the ball for the first like 3 or 4 stitches. The reason I do that is it closes up a gap that actually is created. It looks a little more seamless. I've learned how to do this cast on and I really like it. So you're gonna just want to keep your needles in check, and you're gonna just rotate them to make a triangle. Alright, so I got this kind of triangle looking thing here. I'm going to grab my 4th needle. Now I'm going to take the needle 1 and I'm going to slide those stitches all the way down towards the end. because I want to start knitting there. And for seed stitch, we're going to be doing a knit one, purl one. So we're going to start with a knit one. So I'm going to get my needle in there and ready to knit. And just grab these 2 yarns, wrap it around, pull it through. Now, what I'm going to also do is once I get that stitch there, I'm going to pull this tight to reduce the gap that is in there. Okay. Now I'm going to bring those forward, and I'm going to purl one. I'm going to bring this to the back. I'm going to knit one. I'm going to bring this to the front. I'm going to purl one. It's interesting how these other needles are getting in the way, right? And then I'm going to bring this one to the back and knit one more. And I'm going to drop that tail yarn. I'm going to just take that tail yarn and I'm going to just bring it sort of in the middle of that and drop it down so that I'm not going to be grabbing that. Alright, so I brought it underneath. And then I'm going to just continue around with my double points. In this fashion. And you can pause the video now because I'm going to pause it and I will complete round 1. Alright, so I completed that first round. I actually forgot to put my stitch marker on also, so we're going to do that this round. So for the seed stitch, you're going to start by purling one. And remember, you're going to need to you're going to be picking up 2 strands of yarn for the first 5 stitches because we did that double yarn there. So I'm going to get my needle in ready to purl and hold that with my thumb. I'm going to purl one here. I'm going to put my stitch marker on. So that I know that that's the beginning of the row. Or the round, I should say. And then after purling one, I'm going to knit one. And then I'm going to purl one again. So we're going to just be purling and knitting for this entire row. And after purling and knitting this row, you're going to again do knit one, purl one after this. And that will be your 3rd row. After you do that, I'm going to show you how to start the DragonScale pattern. So, you're going to continue purling and knitting first, and then you're going to do a knit one, purl one for row 3, and then you're going to knit a row. And then I'll show you how to actually start the scale pattern now that we're not doing it, we're doing it in the round and not flat. So pause this video when you get to round 2 of this scale pattern, hit play, and I'll show you how to get started there. Okay, so what we have here is we have 3 rows of seed stitch. So there's 1, this is going to be 2, and that's going to be 3, and then a row of knit. So now we're going to start our DragonScale pattern. Instead of knitting 4 first, we actually can pick up from in between the needles that scale that we could not pick up in the round before. So in between the 2 needles, you're going to just have to take a look. You can use your fingers and push it around, but this is going to be your stitch that you pick up. So going from back to front, we're going to pick up that stitch first. Then we're going to knit 2. Oops, sorry about that. I just hit my camera. Alright. 1. I'm going to move that stitch marker. So I knit my 2. I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to put my stitch marker here to indicate a new round. The reason I'm going to put it there is because it's going to be hard sliding that stitch over a stitch marker. Alright, So we did our slide, we're gonna knit 2 then. And then again, front to back, underneath that 1 stitch, knit 2. And then we're gonna slide this one over and then knit 2. And that's really all I need to show you. The rest you know by heart by now. And you just continue around the entire glove with that pattern. And then you do another knit row, and then the scale pattern for row 4 is actually the same because it's knit 2 and then you pick up. And because you're knitting the 2 that are here and then picking up, it's fine. It works out perfectly. So get on knitting, and I will see you on week 3 when you're finished knitting your 5 rows of your scales.